Hey everyone, Tank Guy Tuesday. Here we are with Justin this week. Party Rental Knowledge. What's up, man? How was your Christmas and New Year's?
My Christmas and my New Year's was great. My Christmas sucked. I spent 14 hours in a plow truck and then 19 hours the next day, and then 19 hours the next day. And we ended up getting like 3 inches per hour after Christmas. So it was aggressive few days, but then New Year's was just kind of weird. I was just home by myself and then watching like the New Year's Eve thing, and it was actually really like what is going on here? This is like the most wild freaking New Year's Eve live show or whatever I've ever seen. The one dude like asked the other guy if he wanted to do acid like live on air after. I was like, all right, that's wild. Yeah, and then like all the performances were kind of trash. But then I'm not the new year, new me type of dude. Okay, it's the new year. Everybody else is in it mentality. How do I get it? How do I overachieve that? And how do I build on that and use that motivation for good and actually do stuff with it? Because a lot of people say new year, new me, and they don't do it.
Don't do anything.
I'm just constantly trying to progress.
I met this other guy, this tent guy, one time. And we were at a restaurant and we were ordering appetizers, and he goes, "Oh, I can't have jalapeno poppers." I'm like, "Why not?" He goes, "Oh, because they're pickled. I can't have anything pickled this year." So every year he picks one type of food that he just can't have as a willpower challenge. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. It's not really like a New Year's resolution. It's just a willpower challenge." So I did it one year. I'm doing it again this year. No pizza, no soda, and no candy for the whole year. The first piece of pizza I had the first time I did it was on New Year's Eve, and it was the most delicious piece of pizza I ever had. So yeah, that's my year. No soda, no pizza. I said no monsters too, but then like I had a monster still, so I drank it. So F the monsters, I'm still gonna drink monsters.
That's actually really interesting. I might think of something like that. That's not a bad idea. I gotta lose some weight. I'm all about putting stuff out there and then trying to will it into the world. So the more you put it out there and you tell somebody you're going to do things, like start a Facebook group or start a website or something like that, if I keep telling people I'm going to do it, it's like I better do it or else you're gonna look freaking wild and stupid for telling people you're going to do something you didn't do. So I've been thinking about telling people I'm going to lose weight, but I don't want to be held to that. Dude, I was in Vegas. I was sitting. There's this place, and it's literally got it's like you eat for free if you're over 350 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
There's a scale in front of it. I stepped on it. I was like 359, but I'm 6'5".
Right.
All right, I'll chase you down. I'm not that sloppy.
So about you mentioned Facebook. So next week we're going to do this live on your Facebook group. You made a Facebook group. Why don't you just talk about it? What's it cover and whatnot?
It's Party Rental Knowledge Group. It's for anybody party rental related, tents, tables, chairs, bounce houses, dunk tanks, hard rides, just concessions. There's people in there that do from all kinds of walks of life. There's vendors in there. There's all kinds of party rental people. I'm trying to I'm trying to figure out a name for everybody to kind of keep it cool. You don't like the YouTube stuff as much, but I think it's fun. I think party rental people or party rental population. I don't want to just be like, "Hey, YouTube." It was kind of, so I'm thinking of a cool name for people and stuff, but the party rental populations and Party Rental Knowledge Group on Facebook.
Cool. We got a first question, and I can field this one easy. Hey, what's up? Happy New Year's. There's a difference between plastic tarps and cloth type tarps for tents so it doesn't get wet or dirty. Well, first of all, don't even worry about it getting wet. It's going to get wet even with a plastic one. Plastic ones suck because, first of all, you buy a 20 by 30 tarp. That's how much material there was, but then they fold it over to make the little grommets in there. It's really like 19.6 by 29.6 or even smaller than that. So your tent doesn't fit on it. Plus your tent is not a perfect square or rectangle when it's on the ground because of the peaks. There's it bows out a little, so it's never going to fit on there. And the most annoying part is they just blow away so easy. You got to weigh them down with stuff. And most of the time what you have is dirty stakes. So then your tent's going to get dirty anyways. Your tarp's going to get dirty. So I don't care about it getting wet because it's just going to happen. I care about it being clean. So I get these tarps from Advantage Tent Fittings. They're like a nylon. Water does pass through them, which is great because when you put them down on wet ground or it's a rainy day, it's just going to get wet no matter what. They dry out basically rolled up. Or if you just leave them out in the sun for a few minutes, they're dry. So when you do step on it, water will come up, but dirt won't. They're a lot more expensive. I paid $250 per tarp, and I got 10 of them, so $2,500 in tarps. They make them 22 by 42, but I actually get them made 25 by 45 because, like I said, like if I'm doing a 40 by 100, that 100-foot span, it's bowed out a little. So the 22 by 42 kind of does it, but 25 by 45 really keeps everything on that tarp. So yeah, check out cloth, not cloth. I did buy like a cotton cloth, like a 25 by 25 once. It got wet and it turned moldy. And it wasn't really cotton. It was from Fred's Tents. The first time it got wet, it got moldy. It doesn't dry like the nylon ones do. Or I don't even know what it is.
Can't talk too much crap about Fred's Tents on here. You know what I mean? You can't diss them on here.
Right.
No, I'm just no, well, but this is a perfect subject because I bought one of those 20 by 40s from Brian from Rental Innovations, but I have a 20 by 20, 20 by 30, 20 by 40. So I was like, oh, I'll just lug this for all of them. I can use it. His are super durable, but super heavy in that fashion. I would only use a 20 by 40 on a 40 wide because that's the only time you'd ever really need it for those sections. And you're dealing with heavy anyways. I would recommend you getting 20 by 20s and using two of them for the 2040 in that sense, because lugging that 20, it's just a heavy piece of thing that you don't need to be messing around when you're trying to mess around with a 20 by 20. It's not as versatile as I thought it would be. So I learned that this year for the most part because it's heavy. It's not like the nylon ones. It's thick, duty, heavy thing. It'll be there for years. I couldn't mess it up if I tried.
Right. Well, I've had the nylon ones going on 12 years now. But yeah, I use my 25 by 45 for my 20 by 20, 20 by 30, 20 by 40. And that's because I don't want to accidentally load up a smaller tarp than we need and have one section of the tent be touching the dirty ground.
Yeah, that's true too. You want to make sure you rather have more tarps. If you're going to get the smaller ones and stuff, you definitely want to have more. And then when I say 20 by 20, I want them to be like 23 by 23 for the most part. So it's a little bit bigger when you add them. That's an interesting question too, because on my website, I'm plugging everything in. There's an actual size and then setup area. Well, the top is 20 by 20, but then you have 3 feet of ratchets going on each side, so it's really 26 by 26.
Right. And a lot of people don't know that when you go to set up a tent, they're like, I measured it, it's 20 by 20. Yeah, but your house is in the way. Yep.
Yeah, like a frame tent you can get vertical because you're staking and securing it vertically. So that's
you still need a little room because when you tip up the legs, there's an angle.
Oh yes,
whatever. 100%. You can't put a 20 by 20 up in an exactly 20 by 20 space. I mean, you can, but
you got to charge more.
It's not going to be fun. Yeah,
it sucks.
I've got a question about cleaning.
Sweet.
He's been using PVC cleaner stuff for tents, vinyl. Never heard of that. I'm sure he says it's working good. Wants to know what we use. So, actually, the best product I found is from this company called SHIPP, SHIPP. They make chemicals just for cleaning your tents, so it's like safe on your vinyl. Every other product, you don't know what the long term is going to do on your vinyl, especially the stitching and the webbing. Any other product could eventually destroy that stitching over time, and the tent will just be up and tensioned and start to fall apart in the middle of the party.
This is also a very freaking same true fact for bounce houses. You do not use bleach on first of all, you can use bleach, and I use bleach when the unit's been sitting there and smells like mold. I put it inside a unit and let it bake basically on the inside in its own little container and let the air just circulates and the whole thing kind of purifies itself that way. But I don't let it or maybe I'll spray around the inside sometimes. Very rarely do I do that, a little bit, but I'm spraying water on the inside too to dilute it.
Right.
The reason you do this is it eliminates the smell and all that stuff. But if you were to just put bleach on the outside, it's going to start staining the unit. And then if you put harsh chemical cleaners on the seams, it can eat and deteriorate the seams. And then a tent, there's stress in the wind, but there's stress constantly with these bounce house units. They're literally made to take like constant stress from the inside out and from people jumping on the outside in.
Right. So, yeah, I would definitely check out Ship Chemicals. They also sell this thing called Tent Blitz, which basically is like bleach. If you get this on your clothes, it will make them, I got a bunch of black shirts that are kind of like got red spots on them. But it's safe on the stitching. So, and that gets rid of mold and mildew. Like you just flip that tent upside down and spray the bottom and it's all moldy and mildewy. 10 minutes later, it's back to perfect white. When I first started, I did use bleach on a few tents to do the same thing to get rid of the mildew. Unfortunately, nothing happened, but yeah, the PVC cleaner may be working real well, but it may be doing something to your stitching and maybe even eating away the top layer of your vinyl. So like best bet is to get the stuff made by the tent industry for tents.
For bounce houses, if you want to clean a bounce house, I use Go Green. And then if you're for COVID or the pandemic and all that, the virus, we were using we were using Go Green disinfectant. It's like another brand that they have. It's a more expensive brand of Go Green, but it's a disinfectant and a cleaner. And that's like the go-to standard.
This dude right here, he's just saying hi. He's got a freaking crazy business. All he has is picnic tables and umbrellas, and has guys that deliver them. I don't think he really goes out. He set this whole system up where it's almost automatic or whatever. It's crazy. But all right, we got another question. What's more in demand for weddings, a frame tent or a pole tent? What size would you start with? Well, if you're just getting into tents, I would not just immediately go into wedding tents. I would just go into 20 wide, 20 by 20, 20 by 30, 20 by 40 for backyards, graduations, barbecues, and start to like get familiar with it. But once you start getting into weddings, pole tents for sure. There's definitely going to be some of those customers who want the frame tents because they don't like the center pole. But there's more customers who are price conscientious than there are who want that certain. They're going to pay double or triple for a frame tent when they can get the same size tent, and it's going to go in the grass as well or whatever. So I would definitely go with a pole tent and 40 by 60, 40 by 80, to be able to do like 120 to 160, 175 people. That's like a normal wedding.
That's an interesting point. So there's people, you got to think about it. If people got enough money or they were going to spend whatever, they don't give a crap how much money they spend, they're not having a tent renting. They're going to take their whole wedding and go somewhere they can nice or something that they can't have one for the most part. Where if you're getting people that's okay, now I don't have a venue, so now I have to price conscience an outdoor setting. So there's people looking into tent venues this year. They weren't even they were just going to go indoor venue locally. And
right.
That's what people are trying to like, oh, well, there's some people that, I can spend whatever amount of money they are. Those aren't the type of people that have a tented wedding. Most of the time it's the people that are on a budget.
Right. This quick question. He wants to know what brand 30 by 60 Keter tent it is. He's seen a few videos. It looks nice. It is Aztec. It's their Jumbo Track Light. So it's instead of double barrel, it's single barrel with the Keter, which makes the single barrel stronger anyways. So it's almost like double barrel. And yeah, it is really cool. And because it's a single barrel with the Keter, it's a lot lighter to put up, but still just as sturdy. It's not going to be one of the Keter tents that you're going to keep up for months at a time, but it lends itself well to rental because it can go up and down fairly easy. Actually, Justin came and put it up with us one day.
That's the gabled one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For anything larger than a 20 wide frame tent, I like Keter because you can just slide those vinyl pieces through. On cleaning, this is an interesting thing which people may not know. He uses stainless steel polish on poles to make them look new. So if you got metal poles, a frame tent obviously has metal legs, and a lot of people use metal poles on their tents. I only use them on my 40 wides, and below that I use wood. But the metal poles, you can't see it, but there's like a oxidization or something on it. Basically, when I put sides on a frame tent, and the sides are kind of flapping around in the wind, especially on the corners, there's a black soot that gets on there. And the black soot's really hard to get off. You can get it off with an expensive like citrus cleaner, But yeah, every once in a while, wipe down your frame tent legs, and if you use metal poles, wipe them down to keep that black stuff from going on those frame legs.
Yeah, that's a very good one too. Dust accumulates on that stuff in the warehouse too. Like I'm bringing in inflatables and different tents and stuff like that. There's all kinds of dirt on the bottom of those legs and the feet and stuff like that.
I shop vac my warehouse like every week. I feel like shop vacuuming.
Yeah, it gets, you gotta keep up on that, or else it's gonna get bad. I've seen it get bad.
Right. But yeah, again, guys, next weekend. Not next weekend, next Tuesday, we're going to be on Justin's Facebook group, Party Rental Knowledge. Give his Facebook group a boost. It's actually, in the few weeks that it's been there, it's got a lot of members now.
It's been a month and a half. There's about like 800 members in there so far.
Right.
But it's growing consistently. And then what I like about it is just a lot of engagement. If you ask a question, it's going to get answered by 30 different people, 30 different ways. And that's what I hoped for the most part too, because we can sit here and talk about our information because we've been doing this for a long time. You definitely should listen to us, but like and subscribe. But if for the most part, I want you to listen to other people too that are in the industry because like we're in New York, we're not in the middle of the desert, so there might be some things that we just don't really hammer down and know because we haven't spent 20 years in Nevada or Arizona.
Like the red Texas dust on every tent when you put it up.
Yeah, like I don't have to deal with stuff like that, but there's people that do, and then that's the type of information you can gain. And we also, on my channel as well as Adam's, we try to do the interviews where we bring people with lots of experience. I like to bring people with no experience too. Like if you're new to this industry and you want to grow, feel free to hit us up too. Like it's a free platform for the most part. We like having people on video and just giving more information because if we could teach you something for other people, everybody learns in the long run. We just want cheaper insurance and people to not look at us like we're wild and dangerous.
So he started doing his bookkeeping, sorting all the invoices. Thanks, Adam, for the Excel template. So he's a patron of mine. On my Patreon page, I put my Excel sheet where I sort everything so that I can give it to the CPA at the end of the year. So that's cool that you're using it. That makes me feel good. Thank you. And you're welcome. Picnic City said if he had a bunch of 10x10s, he would have made a killing for restaurant rentals. Currently, those rentals get called on most streets. Yeah, so that's interesting. So yeah, because where he is, you can't.
Where's he at?
I forget. I just remember it was a city. Oh, Chicago. Yeah, I checked his website out before and was thinking about so he's in a high density area. But anyways. So he can't just put a 20x20 up, and a lot of these restaurants are just like street, and they got sidewalk in a little bit of area. Mm-hmm. So you can't be doing a 20x20, 20x40 there. Basically, all they're going to be able to put there is 10x10s to have their guests covered and whatever, or maybe 10x30 or whatever. So yeah, maybe think about buying a few, even if they're like the high end pop-up tents. Like I bought a Euramax pop-up tent, and it is so freaking high end. Like
I want one.
It's basically just like a 10x10, like commercial high peak. The legs are all octagon and really thick, and everything's really tight on it. I used to hate the idea of pop-ups, but this pop-up is like insane. I wish I knew about this pop-up 10 years ago.
It's bougie for the customer, but it's also bougie for the tent guy too. So it makes everybody happy. I like it. I loved working with it.
Yeah,
that's what makes it cool. When my equipment makes me happy putting it up, like okay, this is a win for everybody. But then I also know that hey, this is cool, but hey, that's gonna break after what I mean?
Yeah, that's 5 uses. That's the problem with a lot of pop-ups is they're just going to break. But this one, I mean, it's so good. I wish I could have some sort of link that they would pay me because I would talk about them all day, but they don't. So I only talk about them every once in a while.
Yeah, I can say that for a lot of things.
Right. Let's see. I'm just south of Picnic City, and I don't get any calls for restaurant tents. We have plenty of frame inventory. Well,
my bad. Those are active calls, man. You're not going to get call. You're going to get calls when there's nobody around. That's an active investment. You see somebody with a closed sign and they got space for it. You tell them. Some people are They're not even thinking about it.
No, they don't.
And then they're not even thinking they have the options because they don't even know how to get in. They don't even know the costs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you know your area better than anywhere. So if you know somebody was a restaurant that did well and they got the space and they just decided, well, I don't know what I'm going to do now because they're not a tent guy. And you know what I mean? And you can, they don't even, some people are afraid to even ask a price and they just think, oh, it's going to cost a fortune.
Right. Or maybe your SEO on your Google is doing that well for it. Maybe these people are like just typing in like restaurant tents and you don't have that keyword in there, so you're not getting it. I don't know the full story, but
maybe you're a crappy marketer. I'm not saying you are. There's people out there that are, and we all know that. I'm just, you know what I mean? So, but there's a bunch of variables there. But the worst thing you could say, look, this is one of the worst thing you say when you ask somebody to do something.
He makes a good point. He's been 50% capacity indoors for most of the year. That's the same thing where it is around me.
Yeah, I don't get shit.
And a lot of I only know 2 restaurants that got tents because 50% capacity is still pretty good. Oh, yes, I am. I don't market. Well, there you go.
But seriously, but he made a valuable point. The 50%, because see now in Buffalo, you can't dine in, but you can go dine in a county over.
Right.
Like I've been buying to go get a burger in Geneseo. Don't tell Cuomo.
Right. Yeah, I've been to several restaurants and several dates, which brings me to what topic. If this girl is watching, stop being so weird. Just be ready. If you're watching, just fucking text me. Jesus Christ. This girl came out of a really long, horrible relationship, and she is nervous to be dating and stuff and isn't ready. So if you're watching, be ready. Just freaking text me, okay? I doubt she's watching.
I know, I feel you there. Yeah. Shout out to all the women that broke my heart. If you're watching this, screw you. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Now, we got any more questions here? I'm not even looking at the comments.
Nah, we're at like 23 minutes. I mean, we didn't have really a goal in mind for this one.
We wanted to have Les and Leon. I hope they see this because we're going to talk crap now. We wanted to have them in here for the first of the year too, but they didn't want to. We couldn't get organized. We're going to be our goal for you guys to be more organized and put better content out for the most part. Definitely,
we got an interesting comment. He's thinking about doing steel containers with open sides as substitute for tents. What do you think?
For what? What?
Well, so like you see a steel container where the sides open up, and a lot of times there may be like a food vendor on a street, and the steel containers all the time there. So a steel container, if you can get it to fit to where, here we go. As a rental for Street Fest. Yes, I think that is great because then you're never gonna have to worry about it. They can lock everything up at night.
You can just buy it. Listen, from a carny, just buy a different top that have the valence sides, and you can drop them down and put poles and just put awnings up. Way more simpler, cheaper than a freaking than that, and you can use some of the similar tents. I actually own some of them tents if you want to buy some.
So wait. There's
in the carnival. You shut down every single night. So the tents, imagine a top, but then they have like wing. Okay, so here's the top or whatever. You know what I mean? And there's a wing that goes up. And then during the night, you put it down.
So it's a tent?
It's a tent. It's a tent.
With 20 by sides?
You got to put awnings on it. So you're going to have special legs where you can put R pins in and raise the awnings with the poles. And the poles go in there, and then it's a frame. It's like an L.
Okay.
Does that make sense? You guys, listen. You ever go to the carnival and you're walking in and it's raining, so you go underneath the awning, and they got them poles right there. And every so often, a bunch of water goes on, and they freaking let it down. They fucking dump water on you or something because you're freaking blocking their freaking money path.
Okay, so that's an idea. Get a hold of Justin at the Party Rental Knowledge Facebook group to get some pictures of that. But I do like the idea of the storage container. I actually talked a COVID test site into a storage container because It was actually a surgery center, and I had a 15 by 15 up there all summer. I made a crap ton of money on it. It was great. Sides got ruined, but I still made a lot of money. They wanted something for the winter, and people would be out there all day long. And I'm just like, yeah, this is not the kind of tent you want. You need kind of a structure, but a 15 by 15 structure is just like ridiculous to heat. I mean, to even just buy, and the heating just sucks. So I talked them into finding. They actually went with one of those companies that has those steel containers that are like office containers, so that they just dropped the office container there, and they can heat it so the two nurses people are warm all throughout the winter. And
they do the office trailers too for the construction sites. You should look into that. Right. I mean, that's probably right down your angle. You're already doing the restroom trailers. You could probably get into that really easily in that second business years. Right.
That's an idea. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's a big market for over here. There's a lot of construction. I don't know how much construction or how many people are doing it by you, but they got some crappy ones. So I'm pretty sure better ones will just do well for the most part. And they're pretty simple. I've done security for those construction sites before, and they're all the same and basic, and they're not, you know what I mean? You don't have to have it perfect. And the more bougie it is, the more money you're making, really.
I like the idea of the storage containers though, as the office instead of a trailer. Although
the bathroom is what it's about.
Nah, screw them. Construction sites, they can get a porta potty.
Yeah, but they don't put that office is for all the architects and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're used to slumming.
So when you have an architect on there, there's the more, I don't know. There's see, I'm in a higher density area too. So
that's Casey. All his COVID tents replaced their tents with containers for the temperature checks. So yeah, I think like if there's a place that is doing the COVID test and the temperature checks and stuff, yeah, I think going with a container is better.
Sheds built cheap too.
Yeah. My friend out in Rochester, he's got structures, and he's making $60,000 a month off of COVID tent sites, but his are all structures with hard walls and flooring and stuff. Yeah. So
we got Modern Tent Supply. Last one.
Yeah. I work full time as a high-rise cement finisher, tents in the evenings and weekends, and the shacks are horrible. And there's definitely a market for the washroom trailers. Yes, I mean, both of my trailers got paid for this year in full because they were out. Both of them were out at a milk plant where there was only one set of bathrooms, but the warehouse is like segmented. And they wanted to keep people separate, not have to walk all the way through the warehouse to go to the bathroom. So I had 2 restroom trailers at this place for several months before our like wedding season began, and it paid for them. Like everything from that point on is profit. And one of them we just got. It was like brand new to us, and it hasn't gone out until they ordered it, and they paid for it.
Yeah, tents too. I got that. I literally got a COVID break room for 2 months. I expanded my inventory and got 2 frame tents. I bought it for $4,500, and I charged $6,500. So right. I literally made money, and I got to keep the inventory this year. So I got to expand my inventory just off having my Google My Business people. Tell people how important that is. But yeah, man, next week, Party Rental Knowledge Group. Come check out the live over on there.
Yep, definitely. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully 2021 is better than 2020 for everyone.
Happy New Year.